Welcome to Blood in the Snow Radio, where we give you the latest news and interviews with the best in Canadian genre cinema. Here are your hosts, Robert Bellamy and Festival Director Kelly Michael Stewart.
Blood in the Snow 2023 continues, and we are here, guys. I loved your project. Get you to introduce yourselves and your project.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Blais, and I'm here on behalf of Action Can Films. We're repping BrawlStars.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Jeff Hanson, another member of the BrawlStars and Action Can Films.
And I'm John Fleming, the third host and producer of the show.
Excellent. Where did this idea come from to recreate stories?
Well, this show was, a culmination of a lot of different ideas and an opportunity for us to work with some of the people at Bell 5. They've been very excited about working with us, working with Action Can Films, and us bringing our unique style to their platform. So we bounced a number of ideas off of them, and
a little too radical, maybe.
A little too radical, but we take great fascination in story, right? In urban legend, in heroism, in oh man, you gotta have been there kind of thing, right? So what a great way to explore that, these sort of unspoken urban legends, untold or unseen on television anyways.
Yeah.
And then our other love movies, right? So it was a big culmination of a lot of ideas.
Yeah, so they are real stories that are in each of the episodes, and the one at Blood in the Snow was the two young girls who take on the bartender at Last Call. But then we take each story and give it a different movie genre. So this one was the horror one, but there's also a Jackie Chan comedy one, a western, and sort of a rock and roll episode where a guy swears that in 1985 he got in a fight with Twisted Sister.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did the research. I did the research, and there's a website that tracks all the concerts that have ever happened. And it turns out Twisted Sister was here in 1984. They played at the Madison Square Gardens, but I don't think that they drove to Oshawa
for pizza. I don't know. Oshawa isn't.
It may have been
sourced for its pizza. Yeah.
It may have been a cover band.
That's what I was thinking. I know people that say, look, I had my picture taken with Michael Jackson. It's like, that's not.
Yeah, you're like,
that doesn't look like Michael Jackson. It looks like he got shot by a makeup gun up in here.
So how do you go about converting that story into this? Like when you're converting it to a different genre, how do you twist the story?
Well, I mean, for us, we would kind of hear these interviews from these people, and the way, as Ben was kind of describing, we're creators. We kind of met doing theater together and building a lot of compelling, interesting projects out of bubblegum, duct tape, and dreams. And so when we kind of hear these stories, we're like, oh, that reminds me of that Bruce Willis movie with Alan Rickman. Or I'm like, oh, that reminds me of that Bruce Willis movie. Hey, this reminds me of that Bruce Willis movie.
Jeff's mind is like a steel trap. He remembers lines, scenes, shot lists from every freaking movie from 1980. When were you born?
83. So I think they turned the computer on in 85, and then from there on out,
it's great because Jeff will be like, oh, this story has elements, like this real life story has elements of this story that's been celebrated, we've seen, and so it sort of came from that. Another thing that sort of sculpted the show for us was the meditation on violence. Mm-hmm. We were talking with the development executives at Bell, and they were like, we want to see something that explores Durham, the Durham region. What about blah blah blah?
Bouncer brawls,
some ideas, bouncer brawls. This brawls. We're like, this is great. We'll do it. We'll dial it up. We'll make it like drunk history, and you're gonna love it. And we're like, yes, we will. But then we went out there and we were interviewing people, and we spent months interviewing people. We probably interviewed like 30, 40 people, and a lot of these stories that we would hear are, beyond the pale. Like, you can't put that kind of stuff on.
Too hot for TV.
They're just kind of like, and then I hit him until he fell and cracked his head open. And you're like, oh god, okay.
How do we make that fun for the family?
Fun for the family, and then also, like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we celebrating? We have to be really careful about what we glorify here, right?
Okay.
And which made us further sort of philosophize on what we do as an action movie company and what action movies are and what our collective fascination as a culture is with violence. You watch one of these John Wick films and he kills like 40 people in the span of like 15 minutes, like a staple gun, right? And that's okay, right? Yeah. I guess. I don't know. It's very interesting, right? So a lot of the stories in the show like ended up becoming, they have a sense of heroism, or they have a sense of like I don't know, insanity. Like,
there was one episode where a man got kidnapped by a guy who he owed some money to for illicit substances, and they drove him out into the countryside, and then he paid them, and they drove him back. And that was, so we took that story, and there was also some violence in it, but we really amped up the violence. But the thing about it at the end is it seemed like they were friends. So then I paid him, and they drove me back to town, and that was that.
What?
So it had this sort of nice button that you can go, oh, well, good, we can all be friends.
Hey, you know what? Pay your debts.
Yeah,
pay your debts, everyone.
Small town living.
Yeah.
I mean, also we were charged with sort of celebrating Durham region and all of its its eclecticness, its dynamism. You got seashore, you got the farms, you got the big city, the colleges. There's some cool pockets in there too, like Camp 30, the abandoned POW camp, great place to shoot a horror movie. All
abandoned POW camp.
Yeah, it's an abandoned POW camp in Clarendon.
It's real cool in there, man.
In World War II, they brought Nazi officers here to get them as far away from the front. And in fact, there's a history there. Like the townsfolk tried to storm the POW camp, and the guards had to fight off the townsfolk because they're like, I know they're Nazis, but you can't kill them.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
that would be an amazing.
That's
location.
A movie, right?
Right.
There.
I mean, that's the movie. We like that. We only found out about that story as we were location scouting and found this place. There's something in there for sure. So. It's a race, everybody.
Yeah.
It's all overgrown and it's covered in graffiti, and it would be quite a challenge.
Weird room with a giant swimming pool and the hole in the ceiling.
Yeah,
why is there a pool in this room? What's going on?
Also, probably haunted with Nazi ghosts.
That's okay. This episode's going to go up after I shoot that.
Okay, good, great. Yeah, hold it.
But our producing partner, Lee Foster at Foster Films Canada, is based in Durham, and so there's a lot of roots there. He's been producing work there for 20 years. Mm-hmm. His family is a political dynasty. They run businesses, and so that was a really real bonus, right?
Yeah.
So that was part of the inspiration. As we say, there's a lot of different factors came together to make this show.
But yeah, we were still able to put our fun little action can film spin on it too.
Absolutely. I mean, anything we do, we put our spin on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you did kind of touch on it. I was going to ask, how do you figure out which stories you're going to use?
A lot of research, a lot of storytellers listen to. Obviously, as Ben was kind of talking about a little earlier, some of the stories we got were like, oh, that's really crazy that happened to. We cannot do this story.
Say that out loud.
We can't do that. But within all these stories, we kind of ended up zoning in on who the storyteller was, and that's when you kind of understood, oh, this is who we need to kind of gravitate, these type of people that are animated, that can draw you stories. In, the true storyteller, and that's what the show kind of.
Being a good storyteller is a
skill.
A lot of people may have lived these wild lives, but they don't know how to tell the story. So that's absolutely right. One of them, we'd make sure that person was engaging, but also would it be good TV? Good TV. Mm-hmm. Is it funny? Is it going to get us
go into the Rolodex immediately? And I'm pretty sure I saw an episode like this in this show on this time. So I think this could be good TV. Yeah.
And also things that are a bit more universal. The Western is a house party gone wrong.
Yeah.
A house party invaded by people who just heard about the house party, and then it's dust up.
Reprobates.
And so everybody's had a house party where some people showed up where you're like, oh, right. So it's Trying to find where we can get people to really lock onto the story. Oh yeah,
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
that was like when I did that thing and it was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, those big themes like crashing the party, family coming together to protect their own. Yeah,
I mean, that being said, like we have a bumper at the end of every episode, and at the screening too. That if you or any of your listeners have wild, crazy stories that they'd like to see dialed up and turned into,
get a little action,
a little
film.
movie magic, right? It's, you're sitting at a party, you're like, well, if I got a story to tell you, hang on, let me just cue up the episode of BrawlStars. But seriously, please write to us. We're info@actioncanfilms.com. And, you just say that you heard about us on the podcast. And have you got a story for us?
We've got a story for
Then
you.
during the episode, when Sean is telling this story, is that Sean?
That's Sean, yeah.
That
That's
is the
Sean.
guy.
Yeah, Big Sean,
He was
the
big.
bouncer, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't bounce as much anymore. That story is a little older. But in his heyday as a bouncer, he bounced at 2 or 3 clubs around town. He
Infamous.
was known.
Probably
as
at
Big
a
Sean.
night, they'd be like,
Don't
"Well,
mess
we're
with
getting
Big
you
Sean,
got to come
bro."
over to this club, man. Like it's getting packed in here."
Yeah.
You guys better look out! Big Sean's coming to bounce. Get out! Oh boy!
Here we go.
No.
Well, and I'm also hearing that there's a lot of stories you get that no, we can't show that on TV. No, we can't. Any thought of After Dark BrawlStars or unrated?
Well, it's not necessarily. It's there's one aspect where people remember the minute detail of how they inflicted pain on somebody else, but couldn't tell you how they got there.
Yeah.
That's what
Right. Yeah. And we're
right?
like,
Okay.
yeah, but the who, what, and why.
But then also
please.
some of the reasoning. It's less the the gorific beauty or anything like that. It's more like the reasoning behind them getting into the violence, and you're like, oh man, you're just forgive my French, and no, well, I don't have to say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's intense, right? So that's the thing that stands out, where you're like, oh, you did that to those people because you're
not a
you're
good
hurting
person.
sides.
Yeah, and sorry, and I can't. I gotta leave this conversation right now because you're
an Indiana Jones
hitting my
thing.
triggers here, and I'm turning into that Bruce Willis from that movie.
Yeah.
You want Indiana Jones, not Patrick Bateman.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it might have been where we started, right? Like we started the research at bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Booze, bars, brawls, right? We figured that would be a gold mine. I mean, it's a gold mine. Well, more like potash mine.
Well, how many? I know this show's gone on. Has it gone on multiple seasons?
No, we're dialing up a second season. We're just hoping that the CMF gives us the money. Thank you, CMF. Thank you in advance. And the idea would be to take the BrawlStar van around the country more, right?
Yeah, there's stories everywhere.
Absolutely. What are the stories in St. John's, Newfoundland, or the stories in Alberta, BC? I'd love to go up north. I'd love to drive that van all over the place. And find
that'd
some
be
wild
great.
stories. And then it'd be really cool to hear all those stories and put them, side by side and really see how people get into trouble in different places all over the world.
And we have a lot of genres we haven't done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're thinking a fantasy one would be fun. Just put some elf ears on everybody.
Yeah.
And
Just
go from there.
Get those wigs back out, man.
Yeah,
whatever it takes.
Get our Twisted Sister wigs.
I was just going to say, is there a particular genre you haven't touched that you want to?
Oh my.
Oh wow.
Well, I mean, so we in the scripts we have a couple of scripts for the second season, a couple of stories already that are scripted out, and one of them is Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Meets Frankenstein, Elephant Man at the end.
So your adventure.
Sort of an adventure one that would be good. And then we another one we have we want to do, because the storyteller is such a character on his own. We want to make him in the reenactment a Muppet style.
Oh, brilliant!
Puppet.
Yeah, everybody loves the Muppets
because he's so individual. There's no way we could find somebody to play him that would match his own
unplayable.
I don't know, brilliance. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. So, if anybody wants to watch, where do they go?
If you have Bell 5, if you have Bell TV or Bell Internet, that sort of situation, then you get Bell 5 TV 1, which is just channel 1 on their list,
cable
or you can
box
watch it online. and it is playing there. All 4 episodes are streamed there, and sometimes they play them in like a 4-hour block on Bell 5 TV1, just on repeat. So you can watch it over and over and over again.
But I mean, like if you're listening to this and you're super interested and you wanna maybe see it, you can reach out to us at info@actioncanfilms.com. Send us an email, and maybe we could work something out. Maybe we could start a vocabulary about seeing that. Yeah, about maybe you can watch another episode.
That's true.
Possibly.
Excellent. Well, guys.
Well, actually, before we leave, I wanted to just take a minute, maybe do a small plug for a new endeavor that we started.
The microphone is yours.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's been such a blast to be here at the Blood in the Snow Festival, and sort of rub elbows with so many indie filmmakers and so many highly incentivized creatives. And
love it.
And we wanted to take this opportunity to share this new idea that we have. Well, we started it. We're in our halfway through our first year, and it's a new film festival here in Toronto. It's called the Open Vault Film Festival, and it's a platform for short film works with no completion window in effect. Right, so this is a place where filmmakers can take something off the shelf that's been sort of collecting dust that they've been proud of, that maybe has finished its festival circuit, sort of finished its job as a short film, right, and has is wayward. Like, where do you put these things? Like, what home? Where do they live? Right. So we have a couple properties like that ourselves, and we're like, what could we do here? Well, let's do a film festival. So the third installment of our first year. It's every quarter. Will be in January 2024. Submissions are open through Film Freeway. If you go to our website, actioncanfilms.com, you can find all about the Open Vault Film Festival. That's also all over our Instagram page and Film Freeway as well. And so we would encourage maybe yourself and any filmmaker that's listening here to I'm going to crack open that vault and pull out that film that sort of got me that gig way back in the day, or that one thing I'm really proud of, or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's something new, right? Maybe you do want to share something. It's in Toronto, and we're open for international submissions, but we favor local filmmakers because we want to sort of build up the community here.
It's a great opportunity to get some more eyes on your film and meet like-minded individuals, and it's always. I think we found last year, being here our first time, that everyone's kind of in a similar boat, and we're all paddling in the same direction, and if we kind of support each other and work together, we can all kind of achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve, and no one wants to drown out there, and it's easy to kind of give up, but there's a lot of people doing the same thing, so it's inspiring seeing these works from people.
And I know the one thing that I've said, too, with film festivals, when the shorts play, once that festival run's done, they kind of disappear.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is another great avenue, because the more eyes, the better.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the existing markets, as it were, for short film, for like CBC's Canadian Reflections, that film can only be 2 years old, right? And I get it, because they want fresh content and fresh things, but some of these calling card pieces, people have put a lot of time and energy into, and not to say that every short film should be seen again, but it's more about you as the filmmaker being like, man, I really like that one that I did 5 years ago, or if any famous local Canadian filmmaker is listening out there, Mr. Mr. Cronenberg or Denis, if you're out there, and you're like, hey, why don't I'll show that short film that got me that break open, that door. It'd be so cool to share that with some other emerging filmmakers, and then also share up, share down, share wide, and spin towards the future. I don't know, guys, help me out here.
No, it's a good metaphor. I
was on a tangent. We were just sitting back
picking up what you're putting down there, man. Yeah.
So this is the Open Vault Film Festival?
The Open Vault Film Festival, yeah.
Now, is this a physical festival or online?
It is a physical festival, so, we're there, we're hanging out, you can hear the audience laugh, and then there's mingle session afterwards. But yeah, it's once every 3 months, so the next installment will be January 12th.
And where is it held?
It is held at the Super Wonder Gallery, which is at Bloor and Dufferin.
Very familiar with Super Wonder Gallery.
Excellent. Shout out to Christian and his team there.
Yeah. Christian Aldo. He is a unique
Oh,
personality.
boy. Yes, absolutely.
Indeed.
One of a kind guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be on January 12th. Submissions are open, so You can find it through actioncanfilms.com, or you can find it on Film Freeway, the Open Vault Film Festival.
Excellent. So you guys are busy all over the place.
Oh, yes, sir.
Gotta be.
Proliferation, baby.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much, and congratulations on the festival. Like, that was a blast
Thank
watching
you.
that one.
We appreciate it, man.
Anytime you want to come back, let us know.
Okay, man.
Please do.
Nice.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you.
Join us next time for Blood in the Snow Radio. Bits Radio is a production of Three Evil Cats Productions in association with the Blood in the Snow Canadian Film Festival. For more information and to listen to other episodes, visit bloodinthesnow.ca and tweet us at BitsFilmFest. Music by Jen Gorman, produced and edited by Kelly Michael Stewart. I am Eduardo